Lovely day in the wintertime, and it's great to be here in Austin.
Steve, thank you very much. This is a little bit of a special mission for me. If I can go back in time slightly, I don't know if you people remember the Cotton Bowl, but this is where this happened. Yes, you know our feud with the Von Erichs is very, very intense, and it happened to be at the Cotton Bowl in October where the Von Erichs shaved our heads, and all you people know about it. But you see, when something like that happens to me, I have revenge on my mind, and I don't speak idle threats. And in fact, everybody that was involved in cutting my hair at the Cotton Bowl is going to get it from me. Revenge is on my mind. I can go on and on. Lance Von Erich, of course the Von Erichs, of course Iceman, but one special person on my mind right now. And he wrestles for Texas All-Star Wrestling right now, and his name is Scott Casey. So you see, Scott Casey, I made a special trip down to the Capitol today because I knew you'd be here. And revenge is on my mind. I'm going to take each wrestler who had something to do with snipping my hair, and I'm going to visit wherever I have to visit and get my revenge. And this happens to be the day for you, Scott Casey. So tonight, I'm going to take this belt, which I recently won back off the Von Erichs. I'm going to smash it right on the side of your head. And I'm going to keep on doing it until the blood flows. And I'm going to leave you lying in the middle of the ring. And then what I might do is take my own pair of scissors and snip a little bit of yours. Now, you see, I didn't mean to get angry there, Steve.
All right.
But this is a nice day, and it is the state capitol, and as you can see, I only do things in style. So now I'm going to get into my car, and I'm going to take a nice, quiet trip down by the riverside, and then when I get to the arena tonight, Scott Casey, you're mine.
Thank you very much, Chris Adams. He is in the main event tonight as he'll be taking on Scott Casey. Chief Wahoo McDaniel will be here. You'll see Bruiser Brody, the one-man gang, the Cowboy Scott Casey. You'll see Fantasy with the Golden Boy, the American Force, and much more. So don't go away. Bruiser Brody in the opening match against two men. That's coming up right after this. Texas All-Star Wrestling at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple, Texas on Saturday, January the 4th, 7:30 starting time. You'll see the $1 million man, Bruiser Brody, with Gary Hart in his corner, taking on the Ugandan giant Kamala, who will have Skandor Akbar in his corner. The American Force will defend their Asian Cup against Austin Idol and Killer Brooks and other exciting matches. That's 7:30 on Saturday, January the 4th, right there in Temple at the Mayburn Civic Center. You can pick up your advance tickets at the Mayburn Civic Center.
I bet the people in Temple, Texas is saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe that in Temple, Texas, Big Bruiser Brody's coming to town to beat up one of Skandor Akbar's henchmen, they like to call him. Well, you know what I like to call you, Kamala? A great, big, stuffed, overrated nothing. Because this time, you're going against the legendary Bruiser Brody. Somebody said that when I paid $1 million, I paid too much. No, I never paid too much because what Bruiser Brody can offer me is carte blanche. And let me tell you something, Skandor Akbar. After Bruiser Brody knocks the stuffings out of this big black bear you call Kamala, I'm going to go into the ring. And I am going to wipe all that paint that you wear on your face and give everybody in Temple a good look. What a goon you are. And also, the American Force. I've made arrangements for Tokyo, and I've made arrangements for the Cup. Austin Idol, Tim Brooks, Bruiser Brody. Temple, Texas, you ain't never had it so good, have you?
Texas All-Star Wrestling at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple, Texas on Saturday, January the 4th, 7:30 starting time. Get your tickets at the Civic Center and don't miss the $1 million man. I know that your men are in the ring and Bruiser Brody is on his way.
Just like I said. See, just like I said, when Bruiser Brody arrives in town, I got two men that know how to take care of any opponent. Bring them on up here. Bring them on up here.
What is this?
Hey, this is the ambulance that in case there's any injuries on this guy or this other guy, I don't want anybody to say that I'm all bad. I want them to know that I'm going to give Bruiser Brody's opponents the very best of service, and I want to introduce you to one of these gentlemen. He's coming. Let me get him.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, Gary Hart promised that any time Bruiser Brody would be getting in the ring, he would have an ambulance standing by, and here is an ambulance here, and there's a tremendous crowd on hand here at the City Coliseum in Austin.
I want to show you now how considerate I am. How many years have you been doing this type of work?
We've been doing this type of work for a year and a half. We also have emergency services work that we do part-time also.
Okay, and are you capable of taking care of any injuries that might occur, legs, backs, necks, arms, shoulders, any kind of minor things or serious things? You're well-trained?
Yes, sir. We're well-trained. We're certified by the state of Texas in emergency care. We also are entirely equipped for any type of injury that you could possibly have here.
Would you be kind enough to open up the back of this ambulance, and you people are going to see the $1 million man, the man that's going to put him right on it. So could we get the gurney out of here? I want you to see this now. I want you to know how serious I am. Bruiser Brody.
When you put $1 million on the line, you got to be serious.
I am more than serious. Let's go. Here it is, the whole thing, and here's the man that's going to put him on. This is the man that's going to put him on. Let's go.
Well, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Hart is now going to the ring with the ambulance crew as they are going down the aisle here at the City Coliseum in Austin. And Bruiser Brody going in the ring against Mike Scott and Bill Rathke. And remember, if you watched TV last week, he has got to beat these guys in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. That's a little less time than they were defeated last week on television. So now Bruiser Brody is in the ring. The referee is Rudy Gonzalez. Bruiser Brody started on Bill Rathke. Now he's going after Mike Scott. There is a big boot from Bruiser Brody, knocks Mike Scott down as the $1 million man picks up Mike Scott, throws him down. Rathke is outside. Ladies and gentlemen, here with me tonight is Doyle King, the voice of the Radio Wrestling Network. Doyle, it's good to have you here with Texas All-Star.
Thank you very much, Steve. All mayhem is broken out of the ring. What a boot by Brody that just decks one of his opponents there.
On the other side is, that's Mike Scott trying to get back in the ring. Brody kicks him. Of course, Bruiser Brody, the $1 million man, the shock of the wrestling world.
The man that Gary Hart paid $1 million to come and be on his team. And, of course, Brody, what a mauler. Look at that, just throws his opponent outside of the ring. Brody really going to work. There's a sling across and another big boots. Brody, what a huge man.
Well, Brody now has Mike Scott in the ring. Brody's going over to the corner. Look at the size of this Brody as he drops that leg across. That had to be right at the throat.
That's one of Brody's best moves, a debilitating move for his opponent since it.
Well, Brody has that 2x4 right to the shoulder of Bill Rathke, right to the shoulder again. Rathke's down. Hart's telling him get into the ring. Hart is telling Brody to get back into the ring. Brody is over by our cameraman. And I tell you, wherever Bruiser Brody walks, people scatter.
Look at the arm. I think the shoulder could be busted on Rathke's down there. Now Brody picking up a table. He's picking up that ringside table and throws it into the ring.
He has the table in the ring. Brody is coming in between the ropes. Scott is up. Brody puts the boot to it. Brody has Scott. What's he going to do?
Looks like he's going to go for the pile driver.
Here's Brody. He's got him up. Brody just holds him.
He's teasing his man there.
Brody
toying with him.
Picks him up, drives his head into the table. Oh, and Gary Hart is now up on him. Gary Hart's coming into the ring. What's Gary Hart going to do?
Hart doing in the ring. Now Brody picking up the table. You hear the bell is rung. Brody with the smash of that table. He's going to try again. Oh, and he lands it on him that time.
He got it on him. Now Brody is going to reach down and roll over Mike Scott, the referee, Rudy Gonzalez. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
The referee wouldn't count, but Gary Hart got in there. Gary Hart counted on the man.
Bruiser Brody. Uh-oh, he should have never done that. He disqualified Brody, and now the referee gets kicked. And here comes Brody taking the referee, throwing him out in the crowd. Well, it's hard for us to see as we're standing down. We haven't been able to get up into our table.
Brody's like a wild man. And Gary Hart, and just egging him on. Look at Brody. Now he's going after Rathke. And he throws Rathke into the chairs here at ringside.
Well, Brody being called back into the ring by Gary Hart. As anytime Bruiser Brody appears, anything can happen here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, and it's happened tonight here at the City Coliseum in Austin. As Bruiser Brody, as we pick him up over there, I can't tell what he's doing, Dole.
Brody's got a chair. He throws that chair into the ring. Gary Hart, of course, still in the ring, waiting on his $1 million man. There's one of the technicians coming into the ring, one of the ambulance people. As Hart raises Brody's hand in a sign of victory.
Well, the Metatrans personnel are into the ring now, and I believe they are checking on Mike Scott. And they may have to be loading Mike Scott up onto that stretcher that was brought to ringside by Bruiser Brody.
You know, that's what Gary Hart promised everybody, bringing Brody up here in an ambulance with those gurneys, wanting to know if they could carry 2 men out. And that, Steve, it looks exactly what is going to happen here tonight. Brody with that chair again as Hart tries to restrain him. Just ease back, Brody. Just take it easy.
He's trying to calm him down. The ambulance personnel are into the ring. And now they're bringing Mike Scott out, and we'll stay with this. They looked like a collar on the neck of Mike Scott.
He could have broken his neck or crushed some of those vertebrae in there, Steve, with a pile driver down, not on the ring, but on that ringside table.
Here comes Brody out of the ring again. Where's he going now? Brody is going over where the Metatrans personnel are. And Brody, I don't know what he's doing. I can't see. Brody is over there at Mike Scott again as he continues to pound on Scott.
Brody just slams that chair into the neck area of one of the men. I can't tell which one is down on the ring there. The ambulance personnel, of course, are down there. And Brody with that chair, he continues to hold that chair. And Gary Hart finally, it looks like he took the chair away from him, now threw it down, and Brody comes after Rathke again.
Well, here comes Brody walking around at ringside, and Brody has helped taking Rathke into the ambulance. Excuse me, that is Mike Scott, as Bruiser Brody is here.
I do provide the very best service in wrestling.
Well, there you see Mike Scott being loaded up into the ambulance as Bruiser Brody is still walking around. Bruiser Brody is getting up on the table. Bruiser Brody has gone wild here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as the doors of the ambulance begin to close. And the Metatrans Ambulance Service taking Bill Scott to the emergency receiving center here in Austin as they drive off. And ladies and gentlemen,
Big things is happening because the $1 million man is there. And Doral King, you know how it can happen. And Rapido, you know how it can happen. And it's going to be exactly like I wanted from now on with Bruiser Brody.
stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because the excitement of Texas All-Star Wrestling will continue right after this.
Years after Korea.
introductions, ladies and gentlemen, by our ring announcer, Mark Nolte and Doyle King. Once again here with me, the voice of radio wrestling and Doyle. Six-man tag team action here. And, of course, the Texas Six-Man Tag Team Championship is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling very soon. The fans get to look at this action here.
This is going to be a great match. You know what happens when you bring the American Force into the ring. The guys that a lot of people are calling, comparing them to the Von Erich brothers when they were starting out, young men in the business. They've only been wrestling together for 6 months.
Well, they are very exciting, and you'll get to see them here as they team up with a hitman. David Patterson to take on Antonio Zapata, Jeff Gaylord of the San Antonio Gunslingers. And I think everybody knows the story about the Gunslingers. And, of course, the Golden Boy, Mike Golden, and Miss Fantasy is at ringside. It's Zapata starting with Michaels. Look at this reversal by Michaels. He has Zapata up and flips him in the air.
What a backdrop. Look at Zapata. He almost slid out from under on that one to try to get his breath back. You know, boy, when you hit the ring that hard, it knocks all the air out of you. It takes a minute to recuperate from something like that.
Antonio Zapata, Fantasy is yelling out. She's yelling something at Zapata. And he goes in and evidently tries to do what she tells him. We'll keep our eye on Fantasy. Here's a tag on the other side now. Comes the other half, the American Force. Paul Diamond right into the muscle of that left arm.
Yeah, that elbow drop from the top rope. The boys look like panthers out there as they use those ropes to their best advantage. A great tag team these men are.
Little hair pulling there, and there's a shoulder tackle knocking down Zapata. Over the top goes Diamond. Reversal on the hip toss. This Diamond controlling, and now an arm drag, and Paul Diamond tags out to the Hitman.
Hitman Patterson comes in, leaps over that top rope, and puts a boot down to the muscle of that arm, and then puts that arm back into the bar there.
Well, Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road here at the state capitol at the City Coliseum. And ladies and gentlemen, Corpus Christi want to tell you that the next time Texas All-Star Wrestling goes on the road, it's going to be at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi on Thursday, January the 2nd. We're going to start your new year out right in Corpus with Texas All-Star Wrestling and world-class wrestling on the road.
The Golden Boy having his problems right now dealing with the American Force. Oh, well, no problem pulling the hair there to get out of that hold.
I noticed Fantasy outside the ring across the way as we look across the City Coliseum here in Austin. She keeps yelling in to the people in the ring, and they try to do what she says.
Well, of course, Miss Fantasy, she kind of rules the wrestlers that she's involved with. And you always have to keep an eye on her because of the dirty tricks that we've known her to pull in the past, Steve.
The referee, Rudy Gonzalez. There's an armbar with a twist. It's Shawn Michaels of the American Force against the Golden Boy, Mike Golden. It's nice to be here in Austin. We went to the state capitol, as you saw earlier today. There's a shoulder tackle. Down goes the Golden Boy. Over the top goes Michaels. Over the top goes Michaels. Drop kick, and down goes Golden. An arm drag, and Golden stays down to the mat as Michaels tags out to Paul Diamond.
Got the first attempt at a pin and a one count now. Now look at the American Force go to work as a team with a double elbow there.
Kicked out before the referee could get a count. It's Diamond working on the left arm as Fantasy yells in, tag him, and he did tag out to Antonio Zapata. When do you get a look at this Gaylord coming in the ring later on? Boy, what a massive man he is, 276 pounds. He'll be in the ring in a little while, I'm sure. introductions, ladies and gentlemen, by our ring announcer, Mark Notian, Doyle King. Once again here with me, the voice of radio wrestling in Doyle. Six-man tag team action here. And, of course, the Texas Six-Man Tag Team Championship is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling very soon. The fans get to look at this action here.
This is going to be a great match. You know what happens when you bring the American Force into the ring. The guys that a lot of people are calling, comparing them to the Von Erich brothers when they were starting out, young men in the business. They've only been wrestling together for 6 months.
Well, they are very exciting, and you'll get to see them here as they team up with a hitman, David Patterson, to take on Antonio Zapata, Jeff Gaylord of the San Antonio Gunslingers. And I think everybody knows the story about the Gunslingers. And, of course, the Golden Boy, Mike Golden, and Miss Fantasy is at ringside. It's Zapata starting with Michaels. Look at this reversal by Michaels. He has Zapata up and flips him in the air.
What a backdrop. Look at Zapata. He almost slid out from under on that one to try to get his breath back. You know, boy, when you hit the ring that hard, it knocks all the air out of you. It takes a minute to recuperate from something like that.
Antonio Zapata, Fantasy is yelling out. She's yelling something at Zapata. And he goes in and evidently tries to do what she tells him. We'll keep our eye on Fantasy. Here's a tag on the other side now. Comes the other half, the American Force. Paul Diamond right into the muscle of that left arm.
Yeah, that elbow drop from the top rope. The boys look like panthers out there as they use those ropes to their best advantage. A great tag team these men are.
Little hair pulling there, and there's a shoulder tackle knocking down Zapata. Over the top goes Diamond. Reversal on the hip toss. This Diamond controlling, and now an arm drag, and Paul Diamond tags out to the Hitman.
Hitman Patterson comes in, leaps over that top rope, and puts a boot down to the muscle of that arm, and then puts that arm back into the bar there.
Well, Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road here at the state capitol at the City Coliseum. And ladies and gentlemen, Corpus Christi want to tell you that the next time Texas All-Star Wrestling goes on the road, it's going to be at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi on Thursday, January the 2nd. We're going to start your new year out right in Corpus with Texas All-Star Wrestling and world-class wrestling on the road.
The Golden Boy having his problems right now dealing with the American Force. Oh, well, no problem pulling the hair there to get out of that hold.
I noticed Fantasy outside the ring across the way as we look across the City Coliseum here in Austin. She keeps yelling in to the people in the ring, and they try to do what she says.
Well, of course, you know, Miss Fantasy, she kind of rules the wrestlers that she's involved with. And you always have to keep an eye on her because of the dirty tricks that we've known her to pull in the past, Steve.
The referee, Rudy Gonzalez. There's an armbar with a twist. It's Shawn Michaels of the American Force against the Golden Boy, Mike Golden. It's nice to be here in Austin. We went to the state capitol, as you saw earlier today. There's a shoulder tackle. Down goes the Golden Boy. Over the top goes Michaels. Over the top goes Michaels. Drop kick, and down goes Golden. An arm drag, and Golden stays down to the mat as Michaels tags out to Paul Diamond.
We've got the first attempt at a pin and a one count now. Now look at the American Force go to work as a team with a double elbow there.
Kicked out before the referee could get a count. It's Diamond working on the left arm as Fantasy yells in, tag him, and he did tag out to Antonio Zapata. When do you get a look at this Gaylord coming in the ring later on? Boy, what a massive man he is, 276 pounds. He'll be in the ring in a little while, I'm sure.
It'll be my first time to witness this man and his power. I've heard a lot about him, and I'm looking forward to seeing John Gaylord.
It is the Hitman, David Patterson, putting the hammerlock on Antonio Zapata. Patterson tags out. In comes Shawn Michaels. I don't have favorites in wrestling, but you have to look at this Michaels. He's so outstanding, he just shines. He can do everything. Oh, and does he get caught with a shoulder? And Fantasy yells in, tag out. And here comes Golden. They're doing what Fantasy says.
Every time. She seems to have a pretty good grip on her corner at this time, ordering the men in and out, working them as a team, using all three men to her best advantage.
Golden holds Zapata hits. So far, unless I missed it, Gaylord has not been in the match.
Now, we haven't gotten a chance to see him yet, but here's Patterson. Look at Patterson. He's up on the middle and bottom ring rope. trying to get that tag. He knows that he needs to make that tag, and you know that he wants to get Gaylord in the ring. Patterson and him, what a feud after what Fantasy did to the Hitman's brother Jimmy.
Well, we saw Fantasy on the screen just a moment ago, and she's yelling instructions into the ring. The Golden Boy and Zapata are doing everything that Fantasy says. Golden slams ahead of Michaels into the turnbuckle. Golden takes the arm twist. Fantasy's talking to Zapata now. And now here's the tag. In comes Jeff Gaylord. Look at the size of this guy. You talk about going to be a superstar. He may be the next one in the offering.
Really putting the pressure on that arm, twisting it, working on that shoulder as John Gaylord brings one of the members of the American... Jeff Gaylord, excuse me.
Excuse me, Doyle. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a break right now, and we'll be back with the continuation of this six-man tag team match from the City Coliseum right after this. We join the action to the Golden Boy tagging out to Antonio Zapata here on Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road. Rudy Gonzalez tries to keep the Hitman and them out as it's Zapata now taking Michaels, whipping it across the ring. Oh, and he doubles those fists up and throws that hammer across the chest. Zapata on top, and it's a 2 count.
Hitman was on his way in to try to break that up. Referee now arguing with them, telling them to get out. There's another sling and a kick right up under that left pectoral.
Well, let's see. Fantasy's yelling and tagging back in as the Golden Boy, and he goes to the eyes of Shawn Michaels. Golden Boy with a headbutt. Down goes Michaels. Fantasy yelling and again. She tells him to slam me, man. He does. She is running the show at ringside. She's telling him what to do.
Oh, what a power drop right on the chest. Now he picks him up by the hair. Another body slam. And the tag.
You know, I've never seen Fantasy really control a match as she's yelling all the instructions in. You saw Zapata have Michaels down for just a 2 count. What a kick there to the side of the head. Now here comes Gaylord. Oh. Jeff Gaylord holds on to the arm of Shawn Michaels. Fantasy's yelling into Gaylord. She's telling him to slam him. He's not doing it. She says slam him. She says, I said slam him, and he's not doing it.
Well, it looks like Gaylord thinks he's his own man, and Fantasy's not gonna rule him with what he does in the ring. Oh, look at the reverse and a slam on Gaylord, but a missed elbow drop there.
Well, Fantasy's hot at Gaylord. I see her. Boy, look at that look on her face we just saw there a moment ago. The fans begin to chant, USA, USA. Well, what a pound there across the head of Michaels from Antonio Zapata. And a kick to Zapata out of Mexico. The fans haven't seen too much of him, but he is tough as he slams Shawn Michaels. Zapata goes into the corner. Zapata up on the middle rope. Dives! Oh, and into the muscle of the arm of Shawn Michaels. It could be, nope, only a 2 count.
The Texas heavyweight champions, of course, you know, they are a force to be reckoned with here, and they've got their hands full. Shawn has definitely got some problems as he takes that chop under the throat. And a pin, 1 and 2, but not enough for 3. He's a tough opponent. You've got to admit that, Steve.
That he is. As here's the tag now. Jeff Gaylord coming back in. Gaylord, a while ago, didn't pay any attention to the instructions from Fantasy. Everybody else has. I'm talking about the Golden Boy and Zapata. Now she's yelling something else in, and Gaylord just stares at her for a moment. She says something. She says, do it, and he's not doing it. She says, pull the hair, and he's not doing it.
You know, this intrusion from Fantasy and Gaylord's reluctance to accept her word could cost them the match if he, you know, gets his mind distracted on not doing what she asks.
Well, here he is. Zapata holding. Now he tags out to Golden. Golden with a fist. Oh, and down goes Shawn Michaels.
Now the Golden Boy, he's gonna hold Michaels. In comes Gaylord. Gaylord, the referee says no.
He's saying hit him, and now he says no. He just tags out.
He tags back out of the ring.
He's leaving. He just says, no, I don't have to listen to you. Look at this.
Oh, what a miss. Shawn Michaels ducked, and now it's Michaels in the hit.
Gaylord's arguing with Fantasy. Here comes Zapata. Fist to the midsection by the hitman. Look at diving.
A diving sunset 10 to the count. 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3 with a sunset flip over the rope as time was about to expire. the American Force of the Hitman. And Fantasy cannot believe what happened. Look at her. She is hot. She can't believe it. But it is going to be the American Force of the Hitman, the winner here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. All you fans in Corpus, remember, we're coming there on the 2nd of January with Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road. Stay tuned, because we'll be back with another exciting match right after this.
Weighing 266 pounds, Killer Kim Brooks. Across the ring from Homestead Street, Chicago, Illinois, 467 pounds, the one-man gang. Your referee, Rudy Gonzalez.
Well, Dole, the one-man gang against Killer Brooks and Hart in the corner of Brooks. Of course, it wasn't too long ago that Hart was in the corner, the one-man gang.
Well, that's right. Oh, look, Brooks already takes off before the bell is even rung, trying to get the first punch in on the one-man gang.
Oh, and Brooks lays it in there. There's Brooks laying to the side of the head of one-man gang. He does it again. Killer Brooks and the one-man gang here on Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight at the City Coliseum in Austin. I want to remind all you fans in Corpus Christi that Texas All-Star Wrestling comes with the television crew as we go on the road on January the 2nd. That's on Thursday night. So come on out to the Memorial Coliseum as a one-man gang picks up Killer Brooks. Well, I thought he was going to slam him, but he picks up the rope and he's choking him in the ringside.
Killer Brooks and the one-man gang. One-man gang's already taken the match outside the ring as he threw Brooks outside the ring. Now Brooks hanging on a gang, getting back in at a chokehold on the Moon.
Well, the Big Moon from Halstead Street, Chicago, Illinois against Killer Brooks. Next week here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, you'll be getting a look at another exciting six-man tag team match. And remember that six-man Texas tag team title is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling, so continue to watch for it. Killer Brooks lays a fist to the side of the jaw. While we're here in Austin, Texas, I'd like to say a special hello to Colonel Massey, who is the commander of Bergstrom Air Force Base, and I hope the Colonel's here tonight, and we want to thank him for support out at Bergstrom Air Force Base, and we're going back over there in January also.
We look forward to doing that. You were talking about the breakup of Gary Hart and the one-man gang. There's some interviews with one-man gang. He said that Gary's friends and Lewin's friends and ideas and perspectives don't meet with his own, and there was such a conflict there that the Moon could no longer continue with Hart. And the Moon has done some damage, in the past to Gary Hart. Well, with Mark Lewin, gang had a shot at Mark Lewin. If he beat Mark Lewin in Fort Worth, Texas one night, he got 5 minutes with Gary Hart. But Moon jumped Lewin in a parking lot and used a piece of steel to batter Mark Lewin's head where he couldn't wrestle. Gary Hart had to put a sub-man in. The Moon won, and of course you saw what happened in Reunion Arena Thanksgiving. The Moon defeating Gary Hart, pummeling him in some 55 seconds.
There's the Moon laying him across the head of Killer Brooks. Brooks bouncing off the rope. The Moon is fronted. He throws Killer Brooks over. Gary Hart cannot believe what is happening out at ringside. Now, there's the big squeeze. Here comes Gary Hart into the ring. Oh, and Moon saw him coming. He lays into Hart. I think he was trying to sucker Hart to get in there anyhow. He knocked him down. Now he goes to pounding. None other. Wait a minute. Here comes Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody is coming back.
Brody comes to the ring, off the rope. Oh, and a big boot to foot right upside the head of the one-man gang, and Brody's taken over.
Brody come out of nowhere. He started pounding on the Moon. He saw the Moon take care of Gary Hart. Now it's Brody and Brooks both kicking. The one-man gang. Gary Hart is yelling to him. The referee has asked for the bell. And here comes Big Bubba. Oh, the Moon's newfound friend and tag team partner has come into the ring. Big Bubba. He gets a kick from Brody. He gets knocked down, he gets knocked back into the corner. Brooks is putting the boots to the one-man gang. Brody putting the boots to Big Bubba.
And it's all Bruiser Brody now. Brody and Brooks working over one-man gang and Big Bubba. There it is, the $1 million man that Gary Hart paid so dearly for.
Well, the $1 million man who made his first appearance here on Texas All-Star Wrestling last week is now making his second appearance here tonight. Here comes the security into the ring trying to get him out. Brody is tied up with the gang.
And Brooks and Big Bubba over there as they go tumbling out on the outside. The ring has collapsed, Steve. They've collapsed the ring.
The ring has collapsed, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen that on a television match, but the ring has collapsed. I can't believe it. Oh, can you believe that? It just went down in the middle. Brody and the gang, Bubba, and everybody in there, they're monsters, and they're still fighting.
I don't think they're going to be able to break this up. They're sending some help from the back. Here they come, trying to break up these monster men down there in the ring.
There goes the referee throwing out.
Brody does that. Gary Hart.
Oh, Casey is in there. Here comes Killer Brooks and
there's
Bruiser Brody. There's Bobby Duncan.
Another shot.
Brody has him. Brody takes him, throws him into the drink. And ladies and gentlemen, Buddy Marino is in there. Brody being led away by Gary Hart at ringside. Ladies and gentlemen, the ring collapsed, and it's no wonder as Bruiser Brody takes over here. And
Brody
he walks down into the crowd. He's wild.
Look at the people
crazy.
Scatter.
They're trying to find him over there. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be back with more exciting action here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Well, Bruiser Brody has not left yet. Brody is crazy. Too much weight in that ring, and it really collapsed the ring as Brody towards the City Coliseum. They're having a hard time getting him out of here. We'll have to fix the ring if we can get Brody out of here. He has got everybody in the Coliseum just moving. Bruiser Brody.
He's a wild man.
I can't believe that ring breaking down, Doyle, but it has. As you can see, there goes Brody.
With all those big men in the ring, Steve, how could it help but with the, thousands of pounds in there in these men?
Well, the ring has gone to the floor as all that weight from Brody and Bubba, the one-man gang. Stay tuned because Texas All-Star Wrestling will continue after this.
I'm Derek Turner of the Baylor Football.
Matches, that's 7:30 on Saturday, January the 4th, right there in Temple at the Mayburn Civic Center. You can pick up your advance tickets at the Mayburn Civic Center.
I bet the people in Temple, Texas is saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe that in Temple, Texas, Big Bruiser Brody's coming to town to beat up one of Skandor Akbar's henchmen, they like to call him. Well, you know what I like to call you, Kamala? A great, big, stuffed, overrated nothing. Because this time, you're going against the legendary Bruiser Brody. Somebody said that when I paid $1 million, I paid too much. No, I never paid too much because what Bruiser Brody can offer me is carte blanche. And let me tell you something, Skandor Akbar. After Bruiser Brody knocks the stuffings out of this big black bear you call Kamala, I'm going to go into the ring, and I am going to wipe all that paint that you wear on your face and give everybody in Temple a good look. What a goon you are. And also, the American Force. I've made arrangements for Tokyo, and I've made arrangements for the Cup. Austin Idol, Tim Brooks, Bruiser Brody. Temple, Texas, you ain't never had it so good, have you? Texas All-Star Wrestling at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple, Texas on Saturday, January the 4th, 7:30 starting time. Get your tickets at the Civic Center and don't miss the $1 million man.
A new ring has been brought into the City Coliseum, and I'll tell you what, this one's reinforced. All that weight in the ring, and with that Texas six-man tag team title tournament coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling, I think we're going to have to double reinforce the ring, Dole.
Well, you know, in that match between Brody and the gang, and we saw Big Bubba come out there, and some 1,400 pounds of weight just literally collapsed those 2x8. It broke 7 of them. This one's already started up, Steve.
There it is, Casey and Chris Adams. Adams bills out of the ring. Casey tries to get the gear off. And remember, this is Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road tonight at the state capitol. And we will be going on the road again January the 2nd at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi. Texas All-Star Wrestling and world-class wrestling together. All you fans in Corpus Christi, be sure you come on out and enjoy the television taping. Next week, here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, we'll have another one of those big six-mans for you, and we will have the reinforced ring for that. There's one as they exchange blows. Chris Adams knocked back. You know, for months, world-class wrestlers were chasing Chris Adams trying to get that mask off, and Cowboy Scott Casey was the first one to remove it over at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio.
Well, that's right. He did, and, you know, he put the degradation on Chris Adams when he removed that match to expose that quarter-inch of hair that he did have on his head. Of course, Scott Casey, one of the men that cut Chris Adams' hair in the Cotton Bowl Spectacular that was held in Dallas on Labor Day.
Casey with a kick. Casey uppercuts that arm. Casey takes Adams, whips him into the ropes, gets him with an elbow, and knocks him down the center of the ring. Steve Stack here ringside along with Dole King. Dole, the voice of the Radio Wrestling Network. And we hope you're enjoying the action at home. Also next week here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, the $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody, will be back.
Brody. What a devastation he caused here in Austin. Collapsing of the ring, going into the audience, bringing out a 2x4, and sending a man to the hospital as Gary Hart brought down the ambulance. That he said he takes such good care of the wrestlers that Brody does whip into senselessness.
I don't want Gary Hart taking care of me, that's for sure. There's an elbow into that arm. I still can't get over that ring. I've seen rings collapse and break, but never like that, where the whole thing just went down, and it looked like they were on their knees when I first glanced at the ring, and all of a sudden I realized what had happened.
It was hard to see, Steve, with all the fans standing up here by ringside, and I could tell that the men weren't as tall standing up as they should be in that ring, and then noticing that the entire ring had collapsed, breaking some 7 2x8s under it, and it's a good thing that we do have a reinforced ring here tonight, as you were talking about, in preparation for that big six-man Texas title coming up.
Well, the special ring was here at the City Coliseum, and it was put up by Fred and Steve, and we want to thank them because they really worked hard. They're employees of the city of Austin, and they really did an outstanding job here tonight. Look at these guys exchanging blows. Gentleman Chris Adams. Well, not too many people think he's a gentleman right now.
Oh, I haven't heard him called a gentleman in quite some time. That's the trademark that he went under, and if you ask Chris Adams, he says he doesn't wrestle any differently today than when he was under the auspices of Gary Hart.
That knee was pretty close to the throat. He gets a 1 count as the referee Rudy Gonzalez slaps that mat. It's Chris Adams in behind with a face lock here on Scott Casey. Large crowd on hand here tonight at City Coliseum. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be rejoining this action action here at the City Coliseum continues here from the City Coliseum in Austin as we pick up the action with Chris Adams holding on to the headlock of Scott Casey. Once again, I want to remind you fans that Bruiser Brody, the $1 million man, will be back next week. Also, another one of those exciting six-man tag team matches. And the ring will be reinforced so it doesn't collapse like it did earlier here tonight.
What a move Scott Casey just put on Chris Adams. They reversed the atomic drop. Chris Adams turned it back around on Scott Casey. But then Casey, when Chris went for that diving pin, stuck those arms up there and got some fingers into the throat, it looked like, when Adams came down. But Chris has come back on top now. It looks almost like a sleep hold, Steve.
He is. He's got it locked on tight as Chris Adams still not too happy with the way his hair looks, and I'm sure he can't wait for it to grow out. The fans pick on him all the time. He said to me earlier as I talked to him, used to cheer him, now they throw things at him. Casey trying to work his way up. Casey not wanting to go down to the sleeper of Chris Adams. Here comes Adams. Oh, and Chris Adams holds on to the hair of Scott Casey.
Referee saw that hole, Steve, and he did call for the break, but Adams continuing to use the hair. Look at him now choking Casey over that top rope. There's a feud been brewing between these two for quite some time, since the spatting of Casey's face that Chris Adams did at the Cotton Bowl when he was cutting that hair, and now the men exchanging rights and lefts out in the ring here in Austin.
All you fans in Corpus Christi, Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road at the Memorial Coliseum on Thursday, January the 2nd, 1986. Come on out, because we'll be taping the entire television program from Corpus Christi. Chris Adams has his head slammed into the turnbuckle by the Cowboy, Scott Casey. There's one to the midsection by Casey, another one to the midsection. Casey grabs him by the arm, whips him all the way across to the ring. He goes in, and Chris Adams moves, and it's the elbow of Scott Casey going into the turnbuckle.
Casey really taking the brunt of the punishment from Adams right now. Chris has got him worked up where Casey's having to suck a little bit of air. There's a sling across, and Adams comes in. Oh,
clothesline.
And Chris with that headbutt right into the sternum there, a count of 2 on Casey. Adams wanting that 3 count.
He was wanting the fast count.
Yeah,
that's what he was wanting.
That's not the way it is. It's a 3-second count. 1, 2, and 3.
There's a fist to the side of the jaw by Chris Adams. He takes Casey, slams him into the turnbuckle. There's another fist, that right on the jaw. Another one as Adam pulls him off the ropes. There's a sleeper in the center of the ring now as Chris Adams has locked it on Scott Casey.
He's got him in the center of the ring, and that's a place where Scott Casey doesn't want to be. Casey now going down to his knees as Adams has got that sleep hold locked on tight. Trying to cut the blood flow off to the brain of Scott Casey, where he could literally lose consciousness if he doesn't find some way to counter this hold that Adams has got on him.
The referee, Rudy Gonzalez, checking Casey. Casey is not out yet. The referee not asking for the bell. The timekeeper and ring announcer at ringside, Mark Nolte. The referee, Rudy Gonzalez. Here in Austin at the City Coliseum for Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road as Casey tries to fight back.
Casey flinging those elbows in there, trying to find any way that he can. Casey really having some problems in this hold as Chris Adams really got him this time, Steve. Oh, there's the flip over, and Casey's out of it.
Casey got out of it. Here comes Casey. They collide. Down went Adams from the shoulder tackle. This time he throws Casey out on the floor. Casey out on the floor. As you look at Chris Adams in the ring. Casey tries to make his way back up on the apron. Adams kicks him out. Chris Adams not allowing Scott Casey to get back in the ring. Here comes Casey up on the apron again. Adams is right there.
Look at that. Those fingers up under the throat. Oh, the super kick. Even Scott Casey just draped over that rope, Steve. Adams thinks he's got it in the bag now. Look at him, that smile on his face. I'm surprised he didn't do his little victory flip there.
Here comes Casey. Oh, Adams is tying him up. Adams has him tied up in the rope.
Referee's trying
Rudy
to call.
Gonzalez trying to get him out of there.
He's got the 5 count to break that hold, and there's about 3 the referee wanting, trying to get Scott Casey loosed up as Adams looks like he's putting a judo fingers up in the... Oh, look at that!
Oh, Adams went diving. Casey moved out of the way.
Adams just circled over that rope, landed out on the apron, but now the tide has turned. The momentum is gone from Adams, and it's Casey's turn. And look at that, just driving those rights. There must have been 7 of them there to the side of the face of Chris Adams.
Casey pulls him to the center of the ring, has him up, and drops him on his head.
What a pile driver by Scott Casey. He's got Adams there. There's a knee into the shoulder, right up on that collarbone.
They continue to battle it out. Casey laying him in on Adams. Adams knocks him into the referee, Rudy Gonzalez. Gonzalez is out. Rudy Gonzalez is out. He's been knocked cold. In comes Adams. He has his tag team title belt. He pounds Casey with it. Now he's going over to the referee, Rudy Gonzalez, trying to get him over. Adams is going to roll Casey over. The referee's going to count 1, 2, 3.
And there's 3. Chris Adams using to his best advantage what he did with Scott Casey by throwing Casey into the referee there and coming out with the victory in this match, Steve.
Well, I don't know about that because Adams had the referee out of the way and then he used the belt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is about to expire, but before we go away, I want to thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much, Steve. Enjoyed it.
And we want to take you back and show you what happened earlier with all the weight in the ring. As the ring went down here at the City Coliseum as you watch. Till next week, Steve Sack saying so long for Texas All-Star Wrestling. $1 Million Man who made